Welcome to For the Record, a podcast by the Delaware State Senate Republican Caucus, hosted by Senator Brian Pettyjohn, Senator Eric Buckson, Chief of Staff Deanna Killen, and Communications Director Matt Revel. This is For the Record.
All right, so today of course, it's the regulars, but we're also joined by Senator Dave Wilson today.
Yeah, I was going to say we have
put the gun away.
He's going to be very static over there.
He's probably not going to say a whole lot.
No.
Yeah.
He's not going to say a whole lot here today.
Yeah.
No auctioneering.
He showed up in our office on June 30th, and we don't, honestly, I don't even know how he got here.
I don't
Does
either.
anybody else know?
I assume Amber, but I don't
Maybe.
know.
Could be.
Yeah, so he's been scaring everybody.
Yeah, I remember I opened the bathroom door and he was right there. Jeez.
He won't be here long. He's headed to the fair, I'm sure.
He scared you. He scared you.
Scared the crap out of me. I was in here working, just no one around because it's empty around here except during sessions. And I come around the corner and I'm like, oh, who's this guy?
He was in my office this morning.
Yeah, so I put him in your office.
And he does look real. That he's been around a while. He was at the auction house one night, and I remember we went back there for some event. I was actually with your wife, and we walk in, and we both look across the room and see it, and we both start waving at it. And then we realized at the same time that that wasn't Dave, and we were so
funny.
embarrassed.
Hey,
So, yeah, it does look real.
time to go home.
Well, I trust everyone has gotten their sleep back in order after
Took me a
little
while.
marathon that we had.
The unnecessary late night that we had here.
It really was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I guess what was the point of making the rule change?
Right?
Yeah, what was the intent of the rule change?
The intent was so we didn't have to be here so late.
And maybe
That's what I thought.
tell people what the rule change was.
So the state constitution actually kind of required us to go to midnight on June 30th into July 1st in order for us to go into a special session. Let the regular legislative session expire and then go into a special session so that the legislature can call ourselves in. We were getting to the point where, we were leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. And we said, this isn't good for anybody. This isn't good for staff, for legislators, for the public, for community groups, for anybody that's interested in what we're doing here on June 30th. It's not good for us to be here all night long and leaving the next morning. So we actually changed the state constitution to end the legislative session on June 30th at 5 p.m. versus 11:59 p.m. And we've been here a little bit late, but nothing like this.
We left, I think I pulled out at 6 a.m. July 1st.
Yeah.
It angered me a little bit this year because I felt like it was unnecessary. There was a lot of waste of time.
There was a lot of wasted time. There was a lack of coordination between the chambers.
I think the House sat on break for like 4 to 6 hours, just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, it was at least 4.
Look, if we're going to talk about wasted time, let's talk about the month of January.
Yeah.
It's about the month of March.
Right.
Even parts of April and some of May where you had committees that weren't holding meetings.
Yes.
You had bills that weren't being run. You had agendas with more resolutions than legislation, and then they wait till the last day and they want to go crazy.
Yeah.
And a ready list that just kept growing and growing and growing when we had just a very few number of items that were on there.
So I ran the numbers. You guys considered more pieces of legislation on June 30th than from all of session up until I think it was the first session day in May.
That's nuts.
No,
Yeah.
it is
Think
nuts.
of what you just
It is.
said.
And and then the
So it wasn't just January. It was
One
literally
day.
the first
January.
Yeah.
all 4 months. Till you got to May.
in the committee process, we had one, I'm just going to say Judiciary Committee specifically. We had one, as we got closer to June, there was 1 week where there wasn't even a committee meeting at all, which in my opinion should not be allowed. In June, you should have committee meetings every single week. Then the following week, it was one bill in committee. And then the last week, there were so many bills in committee that they came in and said, okay, we're only hearing 5 bills today. If you're here to speak on the others, people were angry. Remember that? They were walking out. I think he did 5 bills, and there might have been, I don't know, 15, 16 on the agenda.
17, yeah.
Yeah, it was insane.
And it was interesting. I walked outside times this place, you feel dark, you get outside, sunlight, lighting up again. Anyway, there was a group that had just left that meeting, and they were not traditional allies of the Republican Party, not in a negative way. They just kind of line up. The majority said they were furious.
Yeah.
They were furious because when it comes to process, when it comes to the value of hearing from Delawareans, doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, you should be able to be heard. And,
Right.
and so I told them I feel your pain. In fact, I've run legislation that tries to speak to that. But anyway.
People took time out of their day to come here to give public comment
Yes.
and to basically right off the bat, sorry, sorry, you're not going to be heard.
Yep.
It just, I don't know. I was looking at, it's about 3 a.m. on June 30th, well, July 1st, I guess. I looked in the conference room and saw all the staff, sitting in there watching. And it just angered me. I'm like, all these people, some of these people have little kids at home asleep, and this shouldn't be allowed. We should have been done. Maybe next year we can ask if we can handle it. Let's get in here at 8 o'clock. Let's get the bills done, and let's get out by 5, and let's get everybody home safely.
Yeah, and that's the big thing too. That's what I worry about. I mean, look, the transparency is really important, but the safety.
Yep.
You have people that were up for 26 hours straight.
And
that
I
were
got here
driving home.
early. Me and another staffer came in early that day to prepare.
Right.
So we were up for a long time. And
No, and it's I talked to one legislator that said, Brian, I don't remember driving home. I made it home. I don't
Right.
remember actually driving from Legislative Hall to my house.
I got home and heard there was an accident on the bridge, the Roth Bridge. And
Yeah.
I immediately, my heart sank. I'm like, oh man, I hope that wasn't a legislator or a staffer. So yeah, it is. And then June 30th, there was one bill, I don't remember which one it was. Someone asked a question about it, and there was literally nobody there that could answer the question.
That was on
Everybody
the floor.
had left.
Yeah, it was on the
on
floor.
the floor.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah, I
could
remember
answer the
that.
question. Sponsor couldn't answer the question. Bill passed. Question never got answered. I mean, that's what we do here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we do that sometimes.
There'll be a cleanup bill though in a couple
There will be. Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah,
though.
there you go. Another cleanup bill.
One of the things that speaks to that is when you value people that show up in the one bill, the military bill, 219 tax exemption. Behind all that was the fact that you had the new Secretary for Veterans Affairs that showed up when the session started around 4 o'clock in the afternoon to show a sign of support for that legislation that had unanimous support. And there was no indication it wasn't going to pass the House when presented. It didn't get presented until I think 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And they had legislators from both sides of the aisle calling that out, saying this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
These folks have been here. You had members of the Veterans Commission were there, refusing to leave until the bill passed.
Right.
And they were held up because of what? Because of politics, because of what's going to happen if this other piece doesn't move in the Senate. We should hold this one up and force them to do this. And no, you should do what's right.
Right.
That's what you should do.
Well, I'm sorry. We should only have maybe 20 bills tops on each agenda on a June 30th.
Yeah.
If you're conducting business efficiently throughout the year, that's all you should have.
And look, it's June 30th, especially at the end of a General Assembly when you have members retiring. There's a lot of ceremonial type things.
I like what the House did. The House did theirs the week before.
Yeah,
The Senate should have done that as well.
that might not have been a bad idea to do.
So the House was more prepared, I feel like, when it comes to that.
Yeah, but I mean, really, I think it needs to be a better coordination between the majorities and really in the minority parties too. Just get everybody in a room and say, okay, this is what's going to happen the last 2 weeks. And I think a great idea that we need to really start pushing is this crossover time, because
It's ridiculous.
we were getting House bills on June 30th.
Yep.
We were getting them the last week of session. We've got to put a stop to that.
What the argument is that sometimes the suspension of rules is necessary, and the foregoing some of the process that makes it better. And I've always said that I'm not asking you to eliminate that. When time is of the essence, when there is there's an emergency that has occurred that is unforeseen.
Have an out.
That's
Have an out.
fine,
Yeah.
and let leadership decide that. But that's not what's happening.
Make it the exception, not the rule.
Yes, we should not. And so that's why the crossover that says you have to have a bill be able to cross over to the other side within a reasonable cutoff date. I think the bill was the 15th of June. If it's not the 15th, how about the 20th? Heck, I'll take the 25th compared to what we did, which is the last day.
And
But then have it hard coded, but with a way out, a 2/3 vote of the
Within
chamber
something.
to allow it. I
Sure.
mean, and again, accepting
okay
the
with that.
appropriations bills, because a lot of times they will cross over on the last day, but still. We've got to force ourselves to better manage the clock and the bills that come over.
Yep.
75 bills, 75 pieces of legislation. When we walked in the room,
when we walked in, there was actually more than that presented.
After that, 75.
Yeah, houses or bills, Senate bills that came back over amended from the House.
Right.
You know, that we had to revote on.
Yeah. So next year, maybe we can sit down with leadership, and again, we give our ideas every year. Sometimes they take them, sometimes they don't. But
Speaking of leadership, who you betting on? All right.
I have no idea. We
right,
better not
never
have
mind.
that conversation
Never
here. We know it won't be Senator Sokola because he retired.
Yeah.
So yeah, there will be new leadership.
I
But
bet it'll be a Democrat. I'll say.
I
that.
bet it'll be too, unless something really crazy happens.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I thought today what we would do is highlight a few of the bills that passed through our caucus, and then maybe a couple that didn't pass that we'll be bringing back next year. Talk about a couple of the bills that we talked about, throughout this General Assembly that did not pass, and then a few that did pass.
Okay.
I thought that might be the best way to handle this. So we'll start with you, Senator Pettyjohn.
All right.
A couple of your bills that passed was SS1 for SB 208, your psychology professionals bill.
Yes, the governor signed it. So this allows the master's level practitioners in psychology. University of Delaware has a great program. They have been training these students for a while. Unfortunately, they've, unless they went on to their doctorate, they had to go to other states to practice.
Right.
So this will allow more practitioners in psychology here in Delaware, which we need.
Yes, it was a lot of support for that bill.
A lot of support for the bill. The association came to me last year about it. So spent the last year crafting it, making sure everybody was on board with it.
Yep.
And no, it was a really good bill, and mental health is something that we talk about a lot.
Yep.
And this is kind of where that rubber hits the road and say, okay, we need some more practitioners out there to help people with mental health.
Yep.
When
Good
did
bill.
When did he sign it?
It came in that last advisory that had like 80 bills that he signed.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, SB 332, which this one I think will a lot of people will be interested in, allows the transfer of vanity license plates. That also passed, which almost didn't pass. You had to kind
Almost
of
didn't.
push for that.
Yeah, our Department of Transportation, they've got some concerns with it, but really this is a property rights issue. Vanity tags are personal property, and they hold value, some of them. And there was a lawsuit that the state lost regarding a vanity tag that somebody had on their car that the state issued, and then they decided to recall it. That individual sued, won in federal court, and after that lawsuit was lost by the state, they said, okay, we're going to stop issuing vanity tags, and if you've got a vanity tag, you can't transfer it to anybody.
Right.
Which really takes something of value and then, removes all value to it. So I'd been working with them. They wanted to wait. There's a federal case out there, I think out in Tennessee, based in Tennessee. I guess the courts are going to try to determine whether the actual words on the tag are government speech or private speech.
Okay.
They wanted some kind of clarity on that before they resumed the program fully. I said, in the meantime, let's at least let the tags that are out there and have been issued be transferred, sold, whatever. So
yeah, I think that's a good bill. People are really going to like that.
Yeah.
People take their license plates very seriously here in
They
Delaware.
do. They do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came from a constituent.
It did.
That called me. Their father had a tag, but because they weren't on the father's vehicle, they wanted to get that tag. DMV said no.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you have it.
And DMV really never didn't support it at all, right up
No,
till the
they
end.
didn't.
So
They
it still
didn't.
passed regardless of that. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, All right.
Was
this
it
is-
signed too?
Okay.
Did I?
I don't know if it's been signed or not.
Okay.
I
No.
don't know. Yeah, I'm
That was
not
the
sure.
last day, so I don't think so.
Yeah, probably
know.
not.
Who
He's
knows?
still
I
signing
don't know.
stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this one to you because I don't have a lot of information about it, but it's HS1 for HB 427. I think it had to do with in response to a bill that passed a couple years ago that did not allow 16-year-olds.
cleanup? Was this a cleanup?
Yes.
So there was a bill passed a few years ago that really prohibited, it was actually anybody 21 or under from possessing a firearm.
21 and under?
21 or under, any firearm. The federal courts struck the 21 to 18 piece
Okay.
because as an adult, you're eligible for all the rights, and that is an enumerated right, not only in the state constitution but the federal constitution as well. So that part was stricken, but there was still a question about the 16 and 17-year-olds, especially when it revolves around hunting.
Right.
We've got a lot of kids that go out hunting, and the way the bill or the way the law is now until the governor signs it is you've got to be, if you're a 16 or 17-year-old, you have to be accompanied by an adult 21 years or older if you go hunting. You can't go hunting by yourself. I know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So this kind of takes a step back and says, look, if you've got a valid hunting license, if you've taken the hunter safety class, you are allowed as a 16 or a 17-year-old to go out hunting, target shooting, have a BB
As you
gun.
should be.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of people don't understand how big hunting is.
I think that's the disconnect really between Newcastle County and Sussex
And
County.
the rural and the urban areas.
Right,
suburban
but it's
areas.
like night and day. I mean, not that there's not any hunters up in Newcastle, 'cause of course
Right,
there are.
right.
But I just don't think it, there's
you've
not as
got
many.
people that have family land that they weren't allowed to hunt on their family
Yeah,
land.
it's ridiculous.
So this was a good cleanup. We didn't really face a lot of opposition about it. There were some questions, a little bit of pushback, but when it comes to letting people enjoy something that constitutionally you're allowed to do here in Delaware, hunting is in part of Article 1 Section 20 in our state constitution. We think that this was a good change.
So, you said it was a cleanup bill. Was that an argument we made 2 or 3 years ago?
It was.
Oh,
It was.
Okay. Interesting.
It was.
Was that one of those
That happens a lot.
nice amendment? We should.
It was an unfriendly. It was an unfriendly.
I wish we
amendment.
would've thought
Unfriendly
of that.
amendment. Then we revisit it 2 or 3
Yeah,
years
we'll revisit
later.
it, and
Yeah.
we did. We revisited it and made it so that those young hunters can legally hunt.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
I'm going to tell
surprised
you, there
it
were
passed.
quite a few of them that were still hunting, especially it was on their family's property.
Right.
Yeah.
I have friends I went to school with that were hunting back when they were 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And you talk about firearm safety and stuff. They know what they're doing. So,
Yeah. All right. And then the last one, what we're going to highlight for you, of course, there were more bills than this, but we're just highlighting a few. HB 447, which is designed to make childcare more affordable.
Yeah.
We had talked about this. I think some other states had
TRICARE.
done something like this. It's called TRICARE.
Yeah.
Basically sets up a voluntary cost share partnership where the state of Delaware, local employers, community sponsors, and families can all contribute to the cost of childcare together.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think might be people will probably like that.
Yeah.
Childcare is so expensive.
It is, and the TRICARE models have been very successful in a lot of states, especially a lot of your southern states. A lot of them have picked it up.
Yeah.
So wait to see kind of how that goes. But a lot of times it's state government, local government, and employers that are as the three legs of that stool
Right.
in the TRICARE model. But we're studying it. We're going to allow I think a little bit more flexibility. But I have a feeling once we start looking into this, we're going to come back and maybe formalize some other things on that model. But I think it's a good model. Childcare is, like you said, it's extremely expensive right now. It's more than it's more than some families' mortgages now.
Oh yeah.
Easily.
If you have 2 or 3 kids, you're paying almost a mortgage payment in childcare.
Yep. And for a lot of families, it's cheaper for one of the parents to stay home rather than
That's what my daughter does.
yeah,
She
rather
stays
than
home
pay
with
for
kids.
for daycare.
Yeah, my daughter's doing the same thing now. My kids grew up with my wife staying at home. It wasn't cheaper back then. We just had to gut it out. But the world has changed. In fact, when I came here, I was introduced to purchase of care and trying to increase and expand. I was trying to better understand. I was talking to folks from a diverse group. It's very kind of bipartisan or not partisan in an issue because child care, what you're talking about there is folks that are participating in the workforce. They're actually out there.
Right.
And so it transcends. And I kind of got educated up on, wow, you know what? I really didn't appreciate. Yes, I didn't have to deal with it. My wife stayed at home. We made sacrifices. What's changed? You can get into the whys of the change, but you can't argue it has changed. The cost has gone up dramatically. And
there's less childcare available.
and
which
now I'm
makes it even-
experiencing it with my own daughter who, literally she was a teacher. One of her paychecks would have been dedicated to child care.
Yeah.
One of her 2 paychecks a month, one of them would have just gone to child care,
Yeah.
daycare. So it's tough for folks to appreciate who've grown up, like I just said. You pay for your own, you get what you earn, and those kinds of things. But when the world changes a little, we do need to find a way to adapt.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree.
Yep. All right. So shifting gears to you, Senator Buckson, you had some bills that passed. You actually had kind of a military package this year where you had 3 compacts, respiratory care, cosmetology, and massage compact. Basically just allows people that come here, any state that is a part of this compact, if military, as you know, they're very transient. So it allows them to not have to go through a lot of the jump through the hoops. They can just use the compact to practice in those fields. And then, of course, the big one, which we were kind of biting our nails, June 30th, wasn't sure if it was going to pass, SB 219, the military pensions from taxable income, which right now military retirees can get up to $12,500. This, of course, makes it that tax exemption gradually increases over 3 years, and you'll max out in 2029 and beyond at $25,000.
Yeah, I just think they're bills that are supportive of our active military, as well as those that are looking to eventually retire here in the state, and recognizing that we see the value in those individuals as Delawareans, both the actual military veteran or pensioner, as well as the family, who the dynamics of that is the spouse working for Delaware in a second career and expediting that process through the compact. So all in all, it's just another way to say to those folks that are here in Delaware, whether it's the air base that I represent, the National Guard, or you name it, we see you, we value you, and
Coast Guard stations.
Coast Guard, yes. The shame of it is leaving somebody out. I don't want to do that at all, but it's clearly to say that we see you, we value you, and we would like to see you stay.
Yeah. All right. Your tint bill, SB 255, passed for the 50% tint. So people will be able to have a little bit darker tint on their windows than they legally than they currently have.
Without having
a tint waiver, correct.
That's really what it comes down to. Look, in this space, when you open that door, peel that thing back, you clearly automatically see folks that show up and say, I don't agree. I don't think we should have tint, or I think it's a safety issue. I didn't disagree. That's why we work through the process with the men and women who wear the badge. There's going to be those folks that say that government should be regulating it at all, that it should be as dark as you want it to be. I told those folks that I agree with your ability to have your thoughts there. I don't agree with those thoughts. And if I'm going to run a piece of legislation, it's just going to focus in on what do we have currently right now. What we have right now in Delaware is very restrictive. It requires almost a maximum amount of light to come through when compared to other states. And all this bill does is kind of tweak the adjustment a little bit. So instead of us being the most restrictive, we're more in the middle range. And I think Delawareans who enjoy tint are going to enjoy that without having to doctor shop and try to get waivers. So that's all it is. If you don't want tint, don't do tint.
Right.
If you do, this makes it a little better.
Yep. All right, I'm going to highlight 2 of your bills that did not pass that we'll likely see again next year. Was SB 284, the First State Emergency Response Act. That created basically a new law for interfering with or threatening first responders while they're doing their jobs. Passed the Senate whenever the House had some issues in the House.
Is that the one that we had that word that they didn't like?
We removed harassing to get it through the Senate. But then the House got hung up on the barriers. Like, what is considered a barrier?
Oh.
So that's kind of what they got hung up on. I know that, you're going to be working with them, try to get that figured out. And we'll be bringing that back next year. Because want to protect our first responders.
284 and the next one, I guess, is 304 maybe. Is that the one?
No.
Okay, never mind. Well, no, that's okay. But because there were a couple of them that I thought were good bills that didn't get through. But, here's the thing. I believe in the process. And unless there's a sense of emergency or some reason to force it through, and the reality is in the minority party you can't anyway, I just believe, why force it through? Why not take the off season, which is where we're going through now? We're close. There's a lot of players in this space that I think support it. So let's work with them. Let's make sure it does. What I didn't want to do was agree to the terms that were being presented. We'll pass it if you get rid of this, this, and this, because now the only thing I'm doing is just passing a bill to pass a bill. I'm passing something that looks good on the title but doesn't do anything. And I refuse to do that because I do think that the bill has merit. I think that we need to understand, appreciate what the men and women do that are serving, and not just in the law enforcement field, but in our first responders. And so let's do a bill that works. And so that's why we put it on the table. We're going to get back to work, and I think it'll pass next year. How about we do it early in January and not wait till
That's
June?
a great idea.
Huh?
That's a really good idea.
It'll be ready to go. So let's see if we can get it in committee. It'll be ready to go. Next one, of course, we're all split on. We voted on this last time. HB 188 allows unaffiliated voters to vote in primary elections. It actually did end up passing the House on June 30th. Really, it was neat to kind of see the vote. It was all over the place. You had Democrats, Republicans, different people supporting. I support the concept. I have my reasons for supporting it. I do think that if you allow that, I think it takes the two extremes and brings everything back to the middle. That's my point. I know a lot of Republicans that don't like it. But like I said, didn't make it back over here to the Senate, but I guarantee it'll probably...
We'll see it again next year.
We'll see it again next year.
Absolutely.
Representative Smith in the House was the prime, and then you were the prime in the Senate. And that's not something you support either, is that right? Yeah, we voted on that, so...
No, I think, in fairness to folks, it's kind of, in some ways, like tin, It probably has more merit in your argument if you believe that. If you want to vote in a primary, pick a team. I don't discredit that. I don't agree, right? I think that the world has changed. It has. It's not the same as it was back when you had two very distinct parties. It was kind of it. And now what we have is what you've said before, which is the far right and now far left parts of the party in primaries that kind of overwhelm the system. And then secondary to that is the number of independents that are in the state. I just think, I'll end with this. If you're worried about what it looks like and how it would work, all you need to do is look at other states currently doing this to say that you don't have to like it, but if you're worried about what it would look like, just go look. There are plenty of states doing it, and it works rather well.
Especially considering independent, or an unaffiliated, like that is just it's even with pretty much Republicans, maybe even going past us, but quickly approaching Democrats.
One of the things that you find is with the automatic voter registration that's out there. Everybody's registered no matter what. They're registered as unaffiliated. A lot of people say independent, which in Delaware, independent is different than
it's an actual party.
We actually have an independent party. But and a lot of people just say, "Oh, okay, I'm registered. That's all I need." They don't go and take that next step once they get that card and say, "Oh, I want to change my affiliation from unaffiliated to Republican, Democrat, Green, whatever party they want to do." So,
and then lastly, for folks wondering how this would work, if it were to pass and you were unaffiliated or what have you, in a primary, you would not be able to vote on both the Democrat and the Republican side. You would technically have to pick one side or the other to vote for, which I think has to happen.
Would that change your registration then too, or would you still be unaffiliated?
You're still unaffiliated.
Okay, that is the case, because I know some states where if you go in as an unaffiliated voter and you vote in that
Republican primary,
then it switches your party to Republican.
Well, that's with the automatic voter. Those individuals currently, they can declare a party on the day that they go vote at the polling place, and that would change their registration as well. So, so I do think there's already an opportunity for a large swath of the unaffiliated voters who have been caught up. A lot of people that moved here that are within that AVR, automatic voter registration designation. So that can already be cured.
The biggest problem you have, and the numbers are somewhat historical, recent history, and I say recent, maybe 10, 20 years, the percentage of voters that participate in primaries is shockingly low.
The general election anymore is shockingly low, in my opinion, by my standards. And
so that's one of the ways to get Delawareans more engaged. But I get it. If, party members who don't agree, I'm not going to be mad at you.
I mean, some people have to go unaffiliated because of their job, and you need to consider that. They can't pick a party.
Some of them it's a choice.
They have to be nonpartisan, right? And so I think that we should be. To me, you should be appealing to all the voters. That's just my opinion. Because when you get elected, you represent them all.
You do.
So, all right, just a couple Senator Hawkers too. I want to quickly talk about SB 53 passed, that we actually worked with the governor's office on this bill, and it simply codifies the Delaware Farm to Community program. The reason we codified it is because it was at the federal level. They did away with it. So as we have funding, that will be funded. It basically allows the state to contract with food pantries and the food bank to buy products from local farmers, produce from local farmers. So a bill to support the farmers. HB 350 passed. Senator Hocker, it was funny, he worked with Representative Neal on this, which is an unlikely combo, but they both are passionate about homeschool. Yep, so the bill requires DOE to work with school districts, to basically come up with, they're encouraged to come up with some type of pilot program on how kids from kids from homeschool can participate in extracurricular activities, sports, I guess maybe theater,
FFA,
things like that, right? And it would, of course, be in their home school. So if my child lived in Georgetown, it would be any river school district they could participate in. So I'm going to be following those meetings. I looked. I haven't seen where any of them have been scheduled yet, but we'll be following that. Senator Wilson had a bill I want to highlight, SB 232, that makes it a Class F felony. Yep, Dave.
Yeah, maybe he can say a couple words about it.
Just want to ask him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dave, what do you think?
There you go. Yeah. So basically makes it a Class F felony if someone intentionally damages an emergency vehicle, which is defined in the bill, where the damage costs exceed $5,000 or more to fix and makes the vehicle temporarily unable to respond to an emergency. It did.
Good.
It did.
I was worried about it not being able to get through the house, especially with the concern that they had on your bill.
Right. But yeah, it did make it through. This is a big issue right now. I know that I heard on the radio one morning, City of Dover actually had to put up a fence around one of the departments because of damage that's being done to vehicles.
Wow.
So it is an issue. And to me, if someone is doing something to an emergency vehicle that's making it unable to respond to a life and death emergency, that they should have to pay for that.
There should be consequences for
exactly.
that. Yeah.
You know, help me out here before we go any further, because it reminds me of the other one that didn't pass, and then this one. Didn't two bills just rush through the whole process that I think protected electeds? Wasn't there a piece of legislation?
That was the one that allows elected officials or candidates to use campaign funds for security.
But there was also another one that you're talking about that basically increased the crime for harassment of a public official.
Yeah.
I don't know if it passed, though, but it was in the works.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I think it was a Morrison
there was
bill,
one
I believe.
on safety at the election sites or harassment. And I'm thinking, we didn't have problems working on those, but I'm trying to get the first responders, and that has to get kind of laid and worked. Yeah. Thank goodness the other one went through. Wilson's bill went through.
Yeah, and speaking of Morrison, I just want to comment on this because I know you and I talked about this. Is
the grin over there is
well, we there was a little clip that we put out on Facebook that we were talking about the resolution that didn't pass, celebrating 250 because some people were upset, and we had a comment from someone talking about, you guys need to stop using divisive language simply because we called the Democrat Socialist. This is literally what they describe themselves as. That we're not trying to be divisive. We're not trying to. That is how they proudly identify.
There's a group.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just want to
Democratic
educate.
Socialists of Delaware.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to educate some of our viewers on that. That's not divisive language. If you think it's divisive,
we're not slandering anybody. No. It's literally they're a DSA candidate.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're very proud of
and
that.
Democratic Socialists of America. That's DSA.
Exactly. Yeah. So just educate some of our viewers on that. That we're not being divisive. We're actually being respectful.
That's right. That's how they choose to identify.
That's right. And that
as
we
wrong
respect
as they are, that's what they want to be. So.
Yep. All right.
And look, we're not saying it was every Democrat that was
opposed
to it.
No, that's why we identified because we did. There was Democrat support. We actually had Democrat legislators as co-sponsors on that.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all Democrats. It was.
Did we get everybody?
In the Senate, we did.
In the Senate,
Senate did. But we did have some House Democrats that were co-sponsors as well.
Right.
Yeah. Larry Lambert.
Larry Lambert. I think he was a prime sponsor.
He was a prime.
Of it,
yeah. But there were a couple of that were offended by it, so it wasn't run. Yeah.
And it's a shame. Yep. Senate concurrent resolution 250.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that little clip got quite a bit of back and forth. So I wanted to clarify that we're nothing but respectful here.
That's right.
All right. So some bills that we discussed over this last year that did not pass. So I thought this was important for people to know.
Skip the stuff.
That one, yes. Skip the
Yes.
stuff.
Skip it.
HB 111, that did not. Apparently, from the last I looked, it wasn't even signed out of Senate Environmental Committee. So apparently there wasn't enough support from that committee to get it signed out. So you're still going to be able to get your straws and your napkins and everything when you go to a drive-through.
But remember, you have to ask for your straws.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of people were confused because
I still get mine automatically.
I'm not going to tell you the
You
places
don't,
that I
right.
automatically get them, but
Keep that on the hush hush.
Yeah.
Dan.
I don't think I go anywhere where I don't get them.
You're
well,
not helping. You're not helping. Just cut that out, man.
but that, you know what? That's your servers that are providing excellent service.
Exactly.
That's
I
right.
Because they
expect
know.
it. Don't.
Yeah.
I will be ticked if I ride away with a glass. I can't take the lid off in my cup and sip on it.
In your
I mean, I
car?
could, but it would be all down the front of me because I'm
that's
clumsy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. You know, I got to jump in real quick because the last time we talked about this, I made a comment, correct comment. I said, you know, we shouldn't be focused on this. If we want to focus on something, focus on the recycling done here in the state.
You're clarifying.
Yeah.
And the amount that goes in the landfill and everything. And I caught
And
the
I heard you got
attention of
a phone
some
call.
folks. I
or
did.
a communique of some type.
And you know what? I
Yeah.
appreciated the phone call because it was, you know, members of the Delaware Solid Waste Authority and others that represent that space who said, we disagree with some of that statement, and we would invite you to come up and take a look at the system that we have here in Delaware and maybe get better educated on it. And I took them up on the offer
Nice.
because at the end of the day, yeah, I want to get it right. And
Yeah.
I wasn't really attacking them as much as I was saying the bills are unnecessary. And they did two things. One of the things they told me was, look, you could ban, this is coming from the quote experts in this space, you could ban all the straws, all the plastic plates and plastic cups in the state of Delaware, just ban them. And you're still talking about less than 1% of the recycling we do here in the state.
Wow.
So it's more, these are my words, performative than anything else, but it is impactful to Delawareans who enjoy that. What I'll end with is this. Yeah, it was a fascinating trip to the location in Newcastle, and I got to tour the entire environment, but it was amazing how they take and separate the construction material, the wood, the plastic, styrofoam, and how the hard work of the individuals starting pay about $15 an hour in a heated environment.
Wow.
Where they are standing there separating over and over again, and the simplistic engineering of just agitating the trash to separate it and using a blower that's AI generated to determine, a magnet that takes the aluminum out, and then a blower that takes the paper and the plastic drops. And the last one that was fascinating was this robotic machine, picture like my arm is a metal thing, and it's using a camera on a conveyor belt going with speed to identify, almost like a bird pecking at the ground,
Oh, wow.
the imperfection that has to come out. And it's going, toot, 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 toot. And I'm like, Lord have mercy.
That's cool. I'd like to
That's
take that tour.
an
I'd like to see that.
AI intelligence,
Yeah.
purifying.
And that's what they call that, the single stream recycling, because everything comes into one bucket and then
it gets
sorted out.
separated
Yeah.
out. And
Okay.
they're saying, and the reality is, I know I'm going long, but it does come at a cost, right? I mean, it is what it is. The state of Delaware is somewhat helping to cover the cost to create the benefit of recycling. But, regardless of what, again, I look at things that become partisan, and we say that environment isn't. Recycling in some form or fashion makes sense.
Right.
Mandating that you take straws away at a plate, no spoon for you. I mean, I don't know what the heck we're doing there.
No,
So,
I agree. All right. SB 272, which was the project labor agreement bill for school construction, that made it out of House committee, but was not placed on the House agenda, which I found very interesting. So that did
I
not
know
pass.
there are a lot of labor groups that are very, very upset.
Yes,
about
I've
that
seen
right
it all
now.
over Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know, I'm sure we will see that again next year. All right, HB 375. This was the one that I was all up in arms about. Representative Morrison, that allowed people to change their sex designation on official records. That did not pass. So
Did it make it
I
out of
don't
the
think
House?
it really advanced much after we talked about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to take credit for that. I think it was
job.
us
Good
talking
job.
about
Good
it.
job with that.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Well, us, not me. Us talking
No,
about it.
that's you. Because you were really hot and heavy on that.
I was.
Yeah.
That one really irritated me.
But to your point, raising the issue, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
the visibility
Sometimes
of it. There's a lot of times that people just don't know what's going on here. Yeah.
Right. So it is that's what we want to do here, make people aware. All right. HS1 for HB 440. We talked about this. That changed the process for a constitutional amendment to get through, allowed the public to vote. That did not pass.
Did it even make it out of House administration?
I don't know. I didn't look
Okay.
at the status of it. I should have done that, but I didn't look at the status.
Well, the status now is dead.
Exactly.
dead.
The
Right.
status of all these are dead. Right. Exactly.
All these that you're talking about, like, yeah,
They are
you
not
go.
moving forward.
Yes.
that's right.
So we actually had two of these, HB 135 and HB 454, which was Democrat Sophie Phillips' Homeless Bill of Rights. Neither one of those moved at all. I thought maybe
Good.
this new bill maybe meant it was going to move, but it didn't. Neither one moved at all.
Yeah,
so
there was still a lot of opposition from the towns, from a lot of different groups
Yeah, I'm
on
sure,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this one I was actually disappointed. It's a Democrat bill, and I was actually disappointed that it did not pass. Was HB 416 by Representative Kim Williams, which is the bill to reduce the state portion of the realty transfer tax by 0.25%. Again, we do all this stuff for affordable housing, and then we don't pass the one bill that actually would contribute to
Well,
affordable
if they're
housing.
first-time home buyers, then they're exempt from that anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that's all the ones I had that we discussed that didn't pass. Are there any that you guys can think of?
Well, we got to have something for next time too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Next
So
time,
this
like
is-
next
this
year.
Next
is
time
the-
in January.
Well, no,
yeah.
I mean, what, are we going to come back? Are we still going to do some?
We're still
in the
debating.
off-season?
We're still debating.
I think we should. I mean,
Probably not. That's fine.
That's probably not.
okay.
Eric-
Let's take
okay.
a vote here.
Eric had an idea of doing one, kind of like taking it on the road or
Yeah.
on his back porch
Yeah.
or something like that, something more informal where we can be a little more vocal and express our opinions a little more. So
Hey.
that's an option.
We can do the back porch with the stogie and the cold beverage, or we can do we can do it at the local eatery and say change my mind.
Yeah.
Brian Pettyjohn, change my mind. Just something.
Yeah.
But I'll do whatever. You had a couple libations, you might get the true serum coming out about.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
how
that
silly
might be
some of this
dangerous.
is.
It could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a drinker, so I'll keep everything
I think we're pretty
in check.
we're pretty straightforward anyway, with or without it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe talk about other stuff.
Yeah, just because we do talk about just this state stuff. We don't talk about really anything campaign related or anything like that here.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe that's an outlet where we could be able to do that. We'll
Yeah,
see.
maybe.
Maybe have some of the.
Maybe we'll
Yeah.
create a
Well-
separate Facebook page or something.
Yeah, because the caucus paying, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'd have to.
It would be after hours. It wouldn't be done here on work
Right.
time. It would be after hours.
Well,
I do like
if-
the
yeah.
idea, though. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's good too because there's a lot I'd like to say. I actually hold back on here, believe it or not.
Good for you. Don't talk about the.
I think I really, we had Dan Gaffney on here. I really think that like when he goes on vacation, you need to do one of his shows.
I don't know.
See, then
We
you could do whatever
we
you
could
want.
set that up.
Yeah, I think we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I think that would be great.
I-
You'd
I-
have to get up really early in the morning though to get over.
Well,
there.
I used to teach fitness classes
That's true.
at 5 a.m. in the morning every morning for years. So I'm an early bird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. All right, bills that did pass.
Wow.
This one isn't like a huge bill, but I do think that there's people that would want to hear about it. HB 283. This was a Republican bill. That basically another bill dealing with realty transfer tax. It adds a new family exemption for property being transferred between grandparents and their
Yes.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I know for me that's a big deal. I live on a family compound, so to speak. So my parents own land, and so that kind of stuff that would really benefit a lot of families here in Delaware.
It's a cool bill.
Yeah.
Cool bill.
And
okay.
really maybe a way just to keep some of that land
Right.
generationally.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing so much property that's being sold now by the grandkids that whether it's the transfer tax or whether it's estate taxes, or whether they don't want to farm.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
Right.
if we can make it more attractive for generational families to keep
And
land here,
allow
that's-
grandkids to actually afford a
really good.
home.
Yeah.
Because that's it. I mean,
Or the land to build it
right.
on.
The transfer
Yeah.
tax is very expensive. We're the highest
It
in
is.
the nation. Yeah.
We
so
are the
that's-
highest in the nation,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. Last I checked, we were.
Yeah.
All right. HB 348 passed. We talked about that as well. Updates Delaware's EV rebate program by giving Genrec the flexibility to set rebate amounts. So I don't know what that's going to be. We can keep people posted on what that will end up. So
that money's coming out of Reggie.
Yes, that comes out of Reggie proceeds. So again, you know how I feel about that. I'm all for the environment. I'm all for even helping low-income families pay their bills, but I don't think we should be subsidizing electric vehicles for people.
Right.
If you want one, go buy one. You shouldn't have to have people help you. SB 300, which this bill caused a lot of controversy early on. We talked about it, which initially it was dubbed as a gun registry bill, which I think now I don't think that would be accurate to say that. I will say one thing: the Republicans put forth a lot of amendments. I think it was like 15 amendments
in the House.
In the House, and the bill sponsor did end up kind of incorporating a lot of those amendments into one singular amendment that did address a lot of the concerns. We still didn't support it, but it did make the bill a little better, and it did pass. So that will be going into effect. That's all that I had for that. I do want to mention one thing that I found very interesting today, because when I prep for this, I go on and check the status of everything, and I just want to make sure that all of our money bills had been signed, and our the budget bill, the bond bill,
supplemental,
both signed.
Supplemental.
Yep, all of that has been signed by the governor. And I looked at SB 337, which is a grants and aid bill, which is usually signed right away. And I noticed it wasn't signed. I said, that's odd. Why isn't that signed yet? So I reached out to the Secretary of the Senate. I said, hey, what's the status on this? Why hasn't this been signed yet? He said, I don't know. The governor's not picked it up yet. I found that very interesting because
that is really weird.
That's weird. Typically, they sign that right away. Yeah. That's our fire companies, our nonprofits. That's stuff
because there's money that goes out first quarter, right
exactly.
As soon as the quarter starts.
So I don't know if there's some story behind that we're not aware of, but I just found that to be very interesting.
That is really odd.
Well, I mean, when you, not to be conspiratorial, but
no, not Matt.
No, never.
Where's the tinfoil hat? We need to buy him a tinfoil hat.
But I mean, he did line item veto the bond bill.
That's right, he did,
which garnered some news attention.
You might want to mention what happened there.
Well, he line item vetoed the $35 million that was designated to some renovations, and I guess would have been the first lump of cash for the expansion or proposed expansion in legislative hall. But I think this was really more to do with security upgrades and stuff like that. Anyway, he line item vetoed that. I don't know. Is he maybe looking through various lines of the grant and aid bill that he's going to...
Could be.
Possibly veto.
Trey Pardee said something on the floor the last day that caught my attention, and it was because of legislation that I had tried to introduce that picked up on former Representative Ruth Briggs King having a desire to create a subcommittee on grant and aids, which I think there's merit in that. A lot of money going out. We do a lot of fiscal audits, making sure the money's being spent with, returns on receipts. But we don't do a lot when it comes to performance audits and understanding better, does this actually work? And I think the committee has value there. And the bill, actually, what I switched places with Representative Mimi Brown, and she ran it. It didn't move this year, and I was going to pick it up and run it next year again. And then Trey Pardee, if you recall, but it was news to me. He said, well, in this legislation, we've created this secondary piece that's, he basically said it's going to eliminate the need to have a subcommittee, but it's going to require us to have a robust review of grant and aid.
Okay.
It's caught my attention, and I've been wanting to get up with him to say, what does that mean?
Right.
Because I support that. I guess I need to know what it means. I don't know what he's doing there. He might be holding off to remind folks that at the end of the day,
he's still got to sign it.
He's got the juice.
Yeah.
And,
at the end of the day, we could the Senate could send it to his desk and start the 10-day clock too.
Well, that's that.
Yeah, that's that whole balance of power.
Yeah. And he could be having, maybe his legal department is carefully reviewing epilogue language. Maybe they're fearful something was added. I mean, that could be it too.
Support, yeah.
It could be absolutely nothing, but I just found it to be interesting.
But it is an outlier that an appropriations bill that was passed in June has still not been signed, and we're coming to the end of middle of July now.
Right. So just thought that was a little interesting tidbit.
Things that make you go, that's about right.
But that's all that I have for today, unless you guys have anything.
No, I think you covered it.
You done good.
Yeah. Dave, anything? No, Dave's good. Okay.
Very quiet today. Yeah.
No, it's right there.
Yeah, so if we end up doing like a little spin-off, we'll keep everybody up to date.
You guys are all Sussex County kids. I'll come to you. Peyton will come with me.
We should
We'll figure it out.
Do it at the state fair.
Yeah, we
That's
talked
so-
about that.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always said if we do one at the state fair, it needs to be interactive. We need to have people coming
Yes.
up to us and asking questions and
Yep.
be ready
That
to
would
debate.
be hilarious.
Well, I'll be in Maine, so have fun with that, kids. Have fun with that.
How convenient.
Peyton, we got to have somebody come out and film us.
Yeah. So anyway, so obviously we had our chuckles, with the off-season stuff. Not quite sure 100% what that's going to look like. I'm sure we'll definitely do at least one more.
Yeah.
Between now and probably end of October. So, but early November, if there's any topics that we have to touch leading up to then. We do. So there will be another session day at some point. The Senate always comes back one day during the off season to.
It'll be in near the end of September.
Yeah,
I've heard.
end of
Just-
September,
we haven't
early
heard what date
October,
the date's
generally
gonna be
to
yet.
do gubernatorial nominations, just to get that stuff done. We never really, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we ever discuss legislation resolutions on those
Not
particular
typically.
days.
Not those.
What we saw, I had somebody reach out to us. What we saw last year with the special sessions, that was rare.
Very
Right.
It was
Odd.
extraordinary. Yes.
Exactly, it was
Yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we expect anything like that.
Who knows?
But we
Who
didn't
knows?
expect it last year either.
No.
Anyway, so long story short, you may see this podcast again before January.
You probably will, but we don't know what it's going to be yet.
Right. So
Yeah.
Is the filing deadline passed?
Yes.
Noon
34
today.
minutes ago.
Oh,
No
yeah, okay,
surprising? No surprises?
Well, let's see. Based on what I see right now.
No new last-minute additions?
Okay.
There was
so
one-
Delaware Department of Elections. There was something that came up 10 minutes ago. Let's see.
yeah, we don't always
We've got
delve into electoral politics. There are some interesting primaries.
Dr. Joe Arminio, representative in Congress, Republican Party.
Who?
Dr.
He's running
Joe
for Congress?
Arminio, Congress, yes. Jamie Collins, Newcastle County District 2. Jeff Hans, U.S. Senator, Democratic Party.
What district is
Taisha, no, U.S. Senator.
U.S.
U.S.
Oh,
Senator.
okay.
So,
Taisha Greer, State Rep 28th Democrat, so
Okay.
she'll be
Carson's
Carson.
district.
Yep. So those were the ones today.
Yeah. Huh.
and she's primaried him. Then,
Primary,
Right? That's
yeah.
Democrat, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Lee Murphy.
Lee did.
Filed
yeah.
again.
You know
Yeah,
what?
that was yesterday. Yeah.
You know what, man? Good competition.
Hey, I will say, I feel like there's a lot of people filing this
Mike
year.
Ramone, State Treasurer.
It's just Earl and him, or the other.
Was that
one
John
more just
Whalen?
popped up.
Yeah.
One more just
Whalen?
popped up.
I don't know.
I mean,
District
Murphy's a strong
8,
candidate, so-
State Representative Lisa Brutus, State Rep District 8 Democrat. So there's probably some people that have filed, but they just haven't pushed it out. They haven't gotten everything together and pushed it out on the.
More so.
And
primaries.
just a little inside politics for people that are interested. I do know that the PLA bill, the Project Labor Agreement bill this year, I think has initiated a lot of that because you've kind of got your ABC members and then you've got your union members. And I think a lot of people are upset about that bill, so they're primarying a lot of your.
I know there was one district in particular. There was a very pro-union individual who filed as a primary against one of the sitting Democrat representatives. I don't remember the district though.
Yeah.
And I just sent you the screenshot like less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
Don't remember what it was.
gonna be
But
an
anyway,
exciting year.
to your point, yeah, there's also primaries on that side of the aisle that are pro, I guess, in this case, merit shop.
Right.
Right.
So members
Right.
of the chambers of commerce and such.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Good.
It'll be
But
in
at
a-
the end of the day, it's good that people are civically involved,
Yep.
and certainly your privilege, your right to
That's
run
right.
for office, and something that should be celebrated and
Yeah.
encouraged.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes the off season interesting.
It
during the
does.
election
It
cycle,
does. It really
regardless.
does. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of action with all these primaries
The General
up until
Assembly
September.
could look very different next year.
It could.
Mhm.
It really
Yep.
could. I mean, and it's happened. You know, when we had Dave McBride was
Yeah.
defeated in pro
Yeah.
tem.
Yeah.
We had who else?
Well, Earl Jakes
Earl
lost.
Jakes. Yeah, that was Earl
Representative
Jakes.
Morrison.
And when Anthony defeated the pro tem at the time, Senator
Yeah.
Del Colo.
We had Larry Mitchell that got defeated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ellesmere. So yeah, I mean, it can shake things up.
Yep.
But anyway, sounds
Say-
good.
Ready, set,
Matt.
break.
All right.
Are
well,
we good, Matt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're good. See you at the next episode. For the Record is recorded and produced by the Delaware State Senate Republican Caucus. You can find us with the DE Senate GOP handle on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads. Discover more about our caucus on our website, senategop.delaware.gov.